Hello everyone! So today I'm doing a Q&A which I promised to do 4 days ago I think and a week ago on Twitter. And again, if you're not following me on Twitter, then you know what to do. Everything, all the links are in the description box below. So this video is going to be quite long. It's going to be a long one for sure. I've got lots of questions that I want to answer. So feel free to get some snacks, a cold drink, a hot drink, whatever, because we're going to spend quite a bit of time together today. And I hope you will enjoy it. And I guess I should just get started. So I'm terrible with editing, so I don't know if I will show the questions there, but they're on my phone anyway. We'll see. I'm the worst at editing, so you know. So let's start with the YouTube comments first, because then I also have some questions from Twitter. And first question from Raw Alpha: do you like coffee or tea? Well, I do not like coffee at all. I don't mind coffee in desserts, but I hate drinking it. I can't drink it. It's disgusting to me. As for tea, I'm not a big tea drinker. I drink sometimes tea, but I really am a water person. I'm very healthy, I know. But it's good to maintain your voice. And also because I like singing, I try to only drink water because that's the best drink to keep your vocal cords hydrated. Here you go. So, I'm not okay, thanks for not. I can't see the rest of the name. Anyway, so is there any ways to improve my English pronunciations? I am good with writing, but I'm stuck at pronouncing. So I already answered this question a little bit in video. I will put a link to the video in the description box below, and I will make a note of that. So link video pronunciation. Yeah, it's not going to be an overly edited video, as you can tell. And so I guess my advice is, the way I see it, the reason why you have an accent or you're not pronouncing words correctly is because the placement of your tongue, lips, whatever, all the parts of your mouth that are used to make sound are not sort of used properly, so to speak. So that means that you need to be aware of where the sound is pronounced in your language. So for example, especially vowels, they're pronounced in different places. So in French, the sound U is not the same as the sound E in English, I think. Like I don't know, coup, like a coup, oo, like coup d'état, coup. So it's not the same U sound. The U sound is not the same as, I don't know, like in Japanese, I believe. It's kind of hard to do them in isolation, but I think you get the idea. The sounds are going to be pronounced in different parts of your mouth and using different parts of your mouth as well. So the main thing is to be aware of it and also to listen a lot to the accents of the people you listen to. When you listen to podcasts, when you watch TV, or when you just talk to people in general. I think that's the best way really to sort of work on your pronunciation. I need to go faster because it's going to take ages otherwise. Someone said I cannot read that name. It's in, I believe, Russian. So do more Duolingo, please. I feel like I don't even do any Duolingo at all anyway, to start with. I don't hate Duolingo, but I just don't have time. So yeah, sorry. I don't think there's going to be Duolingo soon, although you can never say never. So Raw Alpha again, how much time do you devote to learning new languages? It depends. I don't really have a fixed time. I kind of go with the flow. I guess the main thing that I do is to make sure I do it as much as possible every day, which is the case with Japanese, because even if there are days where I don't spend that much time, I still need to do my reviews of the vocab. And I have homework because I take online lessons. So I don't really have a specific time, but it could go from 20 minutes a day to 2 hours, 3 hours, it depends. I really go with the flow. If it's too tiring, I stop. If I feel like I'm quite motivated, I do it. But when I say language study, I also include like watching videos about the grammar or watching like series or whatever. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. I always hope I answer your questions. Then we're Alpha. What can I do to retain more of the information I read? I can read relatively fast, but I find it quite difficult to answer reading comprehension questions afterwards because I cannot remember what I read. Any advice? Well, reading comprehension is kind of an interesting one. I don't think you're expected to just read the text and answer all the questions straight away, because a good sort of text is supposed to be challenging enough that you don't answer it, super easily, but it also can't be too hard, otherwise you can't answer the questions. So it's normal when you're doing a reading comprehension to read the text many times, look for the information, spend quite some time. When I do my Japanese homework, when there's a reading activity, I sometimes spend an hour and a half reading through the text, translating the words and answering the questions, understanding everything. So I don't think it's a problem. I wouldn't change anything. Unless it's too hard for you, then maybe you're doing something that's above your level or way too above your level. But yeah. Mohamed Salah, so if you could only have one app for learning a language, what would it be? And what is the first thing you do when learning a new language? So the only app I would keep is Anki, for sure. It's the best. It's simple. It's not specifically for language learning, but it just works great. So I just go with that. And the first thing I do is either buy a textbook for beginners and kind of get started, look up, sort of get to know the grammar a little bit, the sentence structure, especially if the language is very different from the languages that I know. Maybe getting online lessons could be the first thing I would do. It was the first thing I did for Italian, but that's when I was in school. So yeah, otherwise just watching videos on YouTube. There's lots of great teachers on YouTube for virtually any language, I think. So yeah, that would be the first things I would do. Ro Alpha again. How do I turn my passive vocabulary into active vocabulary? By using it. I feel like sometimes people expect a miracle solution, or maybe they think they're doing it wrong, but it's just about, you learn the vocab and try to reuse it. So when I do my conversation classes in Japanese, I try to, I learn the words, either after the lesson with Anki, or, I just see them in context in the film or whatever, and then I try to reuse them in conversation and hope to get corrections as well. So if it's wrong, I know how to use the word better. So yeah, I think it's just about, you only get good at something if you do it a lot. So you'll be good at using your vocabulary actively if you actually use it actively by speaking or writing, for example, or signing, to be more inclusive. Dom, what's your opinion on Scandinavian languages? If you were to learn Norwegian, Swedish or Danish, which one would you learn? I have no opinion about Scandinavian languages. I never had an interest in learning them. It's never sort of come to me to learn them, if that makes sense. So I'm not sure which one I would learn. Maybe Swedish. I know more people that have learned Swedish, but there's no more reason than that. As someone that has training in linguistics, I tend to not have opinions on languages. I don't tend to sort of negatively or positively see languages in general. They're just neutral. It's kind of false, because with Japanese, I'm kind of fascinated and in love with Japanese and whatnot, but I wouldn't negatively judge a language anyway, for sure. Jonathan Olelo, congrats mate, thank you. And Ro Alpha, again, we have a lot of you. I think that was actually the first question you asked. So hi Kevin, do you think working on a call center could help develop speaking skills, fluency, vocabulary, grammar? I think anything you do in the language will help, but it depends if the kind of job you do is repetitive, so if it's always the same things you say, maybe there's going to be a time where you won't really improve, but I'm sure you will learn new words. And I presume you will be maybe speaking in a environment where the language you're learning is spoken, maybe. So that means you can chat with your colleagues, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, I think any jobs would help. I don't know, I never did a call center job before, so I wouldn't know exactly, but I would say yes, of course. And now on to Twitter, and the first question is from Claudio. I haven't spoken Portuguese in a long time. Qual foi seu principal erro no início dos estudos em idiomas? Erros que você não cometeria hoje? Não sei bem. Acho que o meu primeiro erro foi não aplicar o que eu aprendi. Por exemplo, eu quando aprendi o inglês, eu escutava muitos filmes, música, lia muito também, mas não usava muito a língua, assim que eu não tinha muito fluidez em falar, para falar inglês. Então, se calhar o meu erro seria de não ter praticado a fala e a escrita, se calhar, sim. Madeleine Lotmer, again in Portuguese. Estou aprendendo português brasileiro e muitas vezes me pergunto o que os falantes de português europeu pensam da variedade brasileira. Para mim, as diferenças na estrutura gramatical e no sotaque são muito interessantes. Bem, eu não tenho assim muitas opiniões sobre idiomas, de maneira geral, porque já falei em inglês na outra pergunta que eu fiz estudos de linguística, assim que eu não tenho aqueles julgamentos sobre a língua, ou pelo menos não tenho julgamentos negativos. Mas eu acho o brasileiro muito porreiro, gosto do sotaque brasileiro, acho muito bonito, um pouco romântico, se calhar, não sei. Mas eu gosto de sotaques muito diferentes. Acho bem exótico, não sei como é que é de explicar, mas sim, acho muito interessante. Até em inglês, em francês, eu gosto muito de pessoas que falem diferente de mim. Valeria Tiorina. I actually don't know how to pronounce your name, so I'm going to go with the French pronunciation, which is Valeria Tiorina. Have you ever done any cosplay? Nope, never. That's going to be my short answer. Luke Truman. In languages you speak at sea level, English and French, I think, what do you still want to improve on, or are you satisfied with your level? So I'm also sea level at Portuguese. Some people say I'm sea level in Spanish, but I don't think so. I think I'm B2. So anyway, English, French and Portuguese. Something I would still like to improve is my Portuguese grammar, my vocab, because I understand Portuguese perfectly well. Obviously it's my native language, but sometimes I get stuck on how to pronounce something. And English, I don't know, maybe getting better at phrasal verbs. I still mess them up. And French, maybe spelling, but I guess any French person can get better at spelling, I think. That's gonna be my answer. Valeria Turina, what language do you instinctively use to do a Google search? That's a really good one. I usually use, actually it's kind of simple for me. I think I tend to use English when I want to find results in English. I mean, I know that makes sense, but what I mean is like, if it depends on the question, but sometimes you have more sources in English as well, like more websites and more information in general in English. So if I'm not sure I'll find the information easily in French, then I will go for English. But sometimes French makes more sense if it's things about French culture or French language or French related. So yeah, but I feel like I'm better at English for Google because I'm better at using English keywords for things, while in French, I'm not as good. I'm more used to English for Googling things. Again, Valeria. So, peux-tu dire Anata wa totemo kawaii desu ne sans rire avec une voix très mignonne? Anata wa totemo kawaii desu ne. So, if you were to forget all the languages you speak except for one, and you couldn't learn any more ever again, which language would you most want to keep? Oh, it's hard. I kind of wish I grew up speaking Japanese, but that's because I'm in a honeymoon period with Japanese, which has lasted 3 years. Yes, I know. But maybe Japanese, yeah. But then again, I'm not sure I would be able to pick up French because it's so hard. Yeah, I'll go with Japanese. Next question from Carlos Corona Mejia. How would you rank all your languages in order of proficiency? I always struggle with French and English. I think maybe French, yeah, for sure, French. English, I'm not sure about these two because sometimes it's easier to speak in English to express certain things, so it depends. But let's go with French, English, Portuguese, Spanish, Italian, and then Japanese. And next from La Catalaneta, has it ever crossed your mind to learn Catalan, or do you know already too much of it without ever learning it? It has crossed my mind actually. I think I would like in a more or less distant future to learn it. But yeah, it would be interesting actually. I can already kind of understand a lot of Catalan. Reading is kind of easy to understand. I mean, sometimes there's a word I will not know, but listening to it, I think I kind of understand a lot. It's quite similar to Spanish and Portuguese and a bit like French, I believe. So I feel like it's kind of easy to understand Catalan, but obviously I don't speak it at all. I have no idea how to speak it. Valeria again, so would you ever dye your hair? I don't think I would ever do that. I don't like dyed hair, for men anyway. Well, I mean, I don't mind it in others. But for me, I don't think I will ever dye my hair. Maybe I'll shave it. I think one day I'll shave my head, but I will never dye it, I don't think. Not my thing. I like my hair color. I don't know, it's just, I like my hair how it is. And now I messed it up. In Japanese, so 5K and 3K, don't know how to say that in Japanese. Omedetou gozaimasu. どうして YouTube を始めようと思ったんですか？ YouTube で一番したいことは何ですか？ This should be N4. Haha, okay, let me try. So the first question, I believe, is why did you start a YouTube channel? 言語を話すのが好きだから。And the second question, what's the thing you want to do the most on your channel? もうすぐポッドキャストを始めたい。でも、今時間がないから、ちょっと待ってください。That's gonna be my answer, I guess. There maybe are a lot of mistakes in my Japanese. And last question from Skywater. So hi, congrats on 5k sub. I hope you can help with some of the questions. So first one, how and with what method should I study kanji? I am not preparing for JLPT, so I don't want to waste my time learning useless kanji that I will never get to use in daily life. So obviously I'm a beginner in Japanese, so I don't know if I'm the best person to ask, but my opinion is that at least for the beginning, it's fair, like it's safe for you to just follow N5, N4, N3 because it gives you a foundation. And then I reckon after like N3, you are pretty much intermediate in Japanese and you can probably just consume, content. And as for the kanji, I don't know if there's that many kanji in early levels which are useless. I think they're all going to be useful. And it depends on what you're going to read as well. Are you going to read just novels? Are you going to read at all? Or do you just want to be able to read signs in the street when you travel to Japan? Like, it depends. But I don't really think there's kanji that are absolutely useless. I mean, there's going to be a few, right? If like the technical ones. But I think if you just follow the JLPT sort of kanji, I think that's a good basis. Or yeah, I think that's what I would say. Or any kind of beginner textbook will teach you the basic useful kanji, I would imagine. Second question, so immersion. How do I learn word sentences without the actual environment, immersion from the language environment? For example, soko de ikimashou, let's go there, is a simple sentence, but when said in real life by a real person on a street with physical movement, you don't have to think and recall that. Koko means here, soko means there, so that means we have to go there. Koko, soko, people often get confused with it. When said soko was physically pointing in that direction, you don't have to think about it and you instantly understand the meaning of the sentence. It's not that hard to learn and memorize the words, but as the time goes on and as the numbers of words increase, it gets a lot harder. I can't find a solution for these problems. Please help me with the knowledge you have learned so far. Thanks. P.S. I studied grammar from Japanese from Zero book series and also referring some JLPT recommended books on the side. I'm not too sure I understood the question, but I'm guessing, I mean, I was confused by the examples, but I think what you meant is how to learn words without being in the environment to learn them, without having like hand gesture or context to sort of help with the meaning. So I guess it's going to be really just, I don't know, like if you learn the vocab, and study your grammar if you enjoy studying grammar. I'm not going to go into that debate now, but learn the vocab and then use them. And then I think it's kind of good to have someone that can give you feedback as well to make sure that you learn it well. So I would recommend, if you can afford it, to have a teacher, conversation teacher, maybe a friend, if that's what you have, to sort of help you and give feedback. I think it's really important. But I guess if like immersion will help. And yeah, that's what I would say really. I don't really have a secret recipe for learning languages. It's just about, drilling and always reusing the knowledge you've acquired. But I think that answers your question. I hope so anyway, I tried. All right. So that was the last question. So that was quite a long Q&A. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope my questions were helpful and that you've learned lots of interesting things about me, I guess. And I will see you next week. Bye.